what questions? You
they
set a different time. You know what? I don't think so. It only allowed me to set the timer for everybody at the same time, but it's brand new. So give them time. I mean, literally that showed up over the weekend. I am so excited that it was there. So excited it was there.
I didn't see it earlier today when I was in mine.
Really?
I didn't even see it. So I don't know if we all have that or not. So we'll see. We know how privileged you are with Google and how you get things everything early.
This is my Isleta account, and I'm usually one of the last people to get anything with the Isleta account. So no.
I logged in earlier and I saw the timer. So
yes.
You might want to log in later on. I was just exploring with it earlier.
Can you only visit one breakout room at a time, or can you have more than one on your screen so you can monitor students? Right now, because I'm in the meet just this one time, I'm only able to go to one breakout room at a time. But what I was saying was over here, do you see where the chat is over here? And you remember how we saw everybody's name? I'm going to go ahead and go back here just so I can kind of show you. I can't show you the whole thing, but in the main call, it had everybody's name, and then it had the different breakout rooms, right? So what I was seeing is I was seeing everybody that was in the list in the breakout room 1, and who was in the breakout room 2, and who was in the breakout room 3 when we were all broken up. And I could see if your image, your little icon here, if it grayed out, that told me you left the breakout room, which is kind of interesting. Okay. So, and you see, Larry just popped out on us, and you see how his is kind of grayed out as opposed to the one with the green dot. So I know he's kind of out. Oh my gosh, he went to the breakout room. Where did he go? That was really interesting. I think maybe he was trying to go back there. I'm not sure. I didn't put him in there.
There he is.
Did you go to the breakout room? You're muted, by the way.
I got kicked out.
That was interesting.
You kicked me out as you were presenting.
No,
how you somebody
we watched you disappear, and then we saw you in the breakout room for like a second, and then you were gone completely. That was weird. That was weird. Well, Google's doing things right now as we speak. So, that could be what's going on. So as a teacher, I will be able to kind of see, like, I can kind of watch everybody at the same time, even though if I'm walking into a breakout room, because even if I'm in a breakout room, I still have this view here as the teacher. Nobody else will see it. I had somebody ask me, okay, well, what if I'm in a breakout room? You can't see my screen. You want to pin me? Or you know what? I'm not presenting. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Because I stopped presenting once we came back. That's me. I apologize. It's been a Monday. All right, let's try this again. All right, so here we are. We're all here in the main room, right? And then when we're all in the different breakout rooms, what I see, you see how I have all the little green dots here. If you start to disappear, it kind of grays out. So if you're in a breakout room, now it's going to start presenting. Okay, I guess it's just taking its sweet time. So what's going to happen is you're going to gray out if you're in whatever breakout room. So I see this whole thing all the time, whichever room I'm in. So and then I can go into each breakout room, or I can pop back into the main room. If I see that it's grayed out, then I can go back into the main room and go from there. So it's kind of a nice feature. I really like that I can go from room to room. Now I know, but what if I've got kids in there and they're by themselves and they're working? I think that's why they're adding that timer piece to it. Because I mean, I'm thinking about like my centers that I used to run in first grade, and I had a group that was kind of over in the corner, and then I had a group that was over like my library, and and then of course I had my group that I was working with right here in front of me, and I'm trusting that my kids are going to do what they need to do. I mean, I'm not right on top of them. I'm not on you pointing my finger at them and telling them to get busy. Because they know what the expectations are. And I kind of think the same thing's going to happen within the breakout rooms, especially with that timer piece. That's just so exciting that that it's there. And it just brought everybody back. Now, again, you had to click on that button, but that's just something that our kids are going to get very, very proficient at it very, very quickly. How do you bring all students back to the main room? So on the teacher side, something that you can't see, because for some reason, when you do breakout rooms, it doesn't allow you to record. It'll just record the main room. It won't record anything else if I'm in a different room. But you have a button at the top as the teacher that says end breakout rooms. So if I click that at any time, even if there's a timer, even if there's not a timer, you're gonna get that message. You need to go back to the main room, and you'll have to click it to go back. Now, we did say that Becky, one of our colleagues, when we first were trying this out, when this, the first time we ever saw it, she was away from her computer for a minute, and that message came on her screen that she needed to click back to the main room, and we were waiting for her, and she was grayed out, and I was like, I wonder where she's at. Well, we found her finally. She kind of got kicked out of that breakout room, finally completely like shut down, and she was in limbo for like a second. She kind of got kicked out, and then she was able to come back in. So that's what kind of will happen to our breakout room people if they choose not to click on that link. However, that's going to tell me that if they don't click on it the first time, that I'm not going to put them into a breakout room. I'm going to leave them in the main room while I break out other rooms, because that can also be a breakout room. That main room can also be another room for your students to be. And then that way they don't have to move at all. And I would obviously use that for students that may have a little bit of an issue moving from room to room. And we know who we're talking about. So we don't have to go there. Are there any questions about how we get this started? I mean, it's super easy. You just, you can just start the rooms up. See, I can just set up the breakout rooms. And then once I start them up, then I have the ability to move everybody around how I want. So I can customize each room, each set of kids the way that I want to, which is very nice. I do really like that.
And you could be creative with your breakout rooms. For example, let's say I'm doing a whole teach with everybody, and Johnny is not doing what Johnny's supposed to be doing. So I set up a breakout room just for Johnny and I to have a quick moment to talk about it, and then we can all come back. That way, not everybody has to hear that conversation. Also, what if you're having parent meetings and the parents log in with their student accounts? You're in the breakout room talking with a couple of parents, the mom and dad, or the mom or the dad, and then everybody else is in the main room, kind of like in a wait. Then you go ahead and dismiss and then bring in the next one in case somebody comes early. So be creative on how you think about your breakout rooms. That was Misha's idea of the breakout rooms, like with parents or with students, to have that in case for counseling or that kind of a thing.
Yeah. We had a counselor, and she said that she was having a session with a student in the main room. She didn't do breakout rooms just yet, and another student popped in, and then they kind of had to stop because it's a counseling session. I said, well, why not create a breakout room for you and that student, and that way if somebody else comes in, that's like a waiting room. They can't get into a breakout room unless you assign them. So they're going to be sitting in the main room waiting for you, and that's okay. That's okay. And I didn't see a problem with that. Now, and then a question came up too last week that there was a principal that went into a Google Meet, and they didn't see the teacher because the teacher was in a breakout room with some students. And of course, that principal wasn't able to get in there. But if you're a student, you're watching your list, you'll see when that principal comes in, then you can just grab that principal and pop them into the room and assign them into the room. And I think that you will be able to do that. I've not tried that. Yes.
Sorry, I have a question. So,
sure.
Okay, let's say you're starting your meeting and you do breakout, and somebody comes in late, like you said, the principal. Does she automatically get assigned to the main room, and then I have to drag her from her name to the breakout room?
Yes.
So at all times, I'll be able to see the list of kids.
Yep.
Yeah, because you'll see the main call here, and of course you won't have as many in the main call, and then you'll see your breakout rooms, and you'll have everybody's name listed in here. And then if a new name pops up, then you could be, that's Mrs. Daniel. Let me grab her and put her into the breakout room where I am right now. Or I could just pop out really fast, say, I'll be right back, kids, and go to the main room and say, okay, I'm going to put you in this breakout room with us if you want to come in there and see us. And then that way, you're letting them know that you are there. You're just in a breakout room.
Well, this could happen. So let's say they're doing, let's say they're doing walkthroughs and it's 3 or 4 people. I can drag those 4 people into my breakout room where I'm at.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what's so nice about having that little icon. I can just drag it and I can put it where I need to put it. And then, of course, then they'll get the message that, oh, wait, they're in the breakout room. Well, okay, now I can go there, because they will not see the breakout rooms when they first come in until you assign them.
Okay, so what they're just seeing is they're just walking into a room.
They're just looking, and they're probably going, where's the teacher? How come I don't see the teacher? Because remember, you won't be in that main room. You'll be in one of the breakout rooms, but you will be able to see when they pop in, because you're going to see the main up here, and you'll all of a sudden their icon will appear. Oh my gosh, principal's here. Let me, and like I said, I would do one of the two things. I probably would just tell my kids, hey, sit tight. I'm going to be right back, and go to the main room and say, hey, Shelly, I'm in a breakout room 1. So I'm going to go ahead and assign you if you want to join us in breakout room 1, then head back there and assign, my principal. And then that way they could come into the room with me. That probably would be what I would do, instead of just putting them in there, because they may not know what's this break. I don't know if all the principals are up on all the breakout room stuff yet. So that just might be what I would do, just to kind of reinforce it. Hey, I'm in this room. Why don't you come and join us? And so you can see what we're doing in here.
So my next question is there any way for you to hear what's going on in the other breakout rooms, or no?
No, it's kind of like you're walking out of, it's like you've got like 4 rooms with doors. And so I walk out of the room, and then the door closes, so I can't hear or see what's going on. And then I can go into the next one. And I know that we have talked about before, when we did another session on breakout rooms before these came available, how we did it through Google Classroom, and we had lots of meets open. The problem with having more than one meet open at a time, of course, is your bandwidth. We're all struggling for internet right now, because everybody on the entire planet is online at the same time. And in here in El Paso, I know everybody struggles with it from time to time. So having less bandwidth is kind of an important thing. And to me, as long as I know where my kids are by looking at my list here and saying, okay, I see Sandra, she's supposed to be over here. I see Veronica, and you're watching that, and you're making sure that they're not graying out. I think you're going to be okay. And now with that timer piece, wow, even better, because now I could set a timer for, okay, we're going to do this for 10 minutes. And then when 10 minutes is up, you need to come back to the main room. And what a great way. And, that would be really great to give them just some time to talk to one another too. All right, we're going to take a 15-minute break. I'm going to open up 3 breakout rooms, and you can, let me know who you want to join with, or you just randomly do it. And so that way they let them talk to each other for a little bit. Cause so that's what they do need, that time. I know we all need it. Right. And, that to me, that's such a great feature to have, is that timer, because it's going to keep everybody on track. And it's going to keep everybody a little more focused, because it was counting down. I don't know if anybody else was noticing, but I noticed in the corner, it was red, and it was telling me I had 5 seconds, 4 seconds. And then it says, okay, back to the main room now. So it was a very good reminder for me. And I think even as a first grader, as a kindergartner, I would be able to click that button and take me right back to the main room.
Okay, thank
absolutely.
You.
Any other questions? Any other about the breakout rooms? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and move out of the breakout rooms, and we're going to go to the next one, which is a poll. These are really, really great. And I don't know if any of you have played with the polls, but let me tell you what happens after the meet is over. So today, I'm recording this, and first of all, I'm going to get the attendance for today of everybody that's here. It's going to tell me when everybody popped in and all of that. But for the polls, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask a question here in just a minute, and I would like everybody to vote on it. Oh, well, here we go, voting again. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't do this. I don't know. We're just going to do cats and dogs today. We're not going to talk about politics or anything. So when I create the poll, I'm going to be able to see. First of all, just in our poll, we'll be able to see which one is winning, the cats or the dogs or whatever. And then when I go to when I go to the report that it's going to send me, it's going to tell me exactly what everybody chose and exactly what time they chose it. So I'm going to see, like, if you said, oh, I like a dog better, or if it's a question about a book that we're reading, I'm going to be able to see what your answer was. And the same with the Q&A that we'll talk about here in just a minute as well. But I'm going to go ahead and open up the polls, and I hope you can still see my screen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start a poll. Okay, my question is going to be, which do you like best? And I'm going to put on here awesome cat or nice dog. And I'm going to launch it. So now I'm going to make sure I'm going to turn this on so that way everybody can see the results. And then you can go in, and to get to the polls, you're going to click on those three little shapes, and you'll see a green dot next to the polls. When you click on it, it's going to actually say, here's the poll, and you'll be able to vote. And you can have as many answer choices as you want. You don't have to just stick with 2. I see some people are voting. They're voting for the nice dog. No one's voting for the awesome cat. What did I tell you? All right. So now, as I'm seeing the answers here, you're seeing what the answers are, but you don't know who said what, which is okay. It's good to be anonymous. But after this meeting is over, like I said, I'm going to be getting an email from Google, and it's going to give me a spreadsheet, and it'll list every single person that was in here. It'll list your email, it'll list your first name and your last name, and it'll let me know what you chose on the poll. So I could use this as a grade if I wanted to, or I could use this as as feedback for me. Maybe it's, did you understand the concept today? And I could go, oh my gosh, look at that. Everybody said no. Okay, maybe this is something we need to revisit, because since it's anonymous on your end and everybody else's end, you're going to, obviously be more honest, right? Because, your name isn't associated with it. I will see it, but I'm the only one who will be able to see your name. Okay. Nobody voted for the awesome cat. I can't believe that. I have 2 awesome cats, and I love dogs. Don't get me wrong. I do love dogs too, but I do have 2 very awesome cats. And they're somewhere around here. But nobody voted for the cat. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Now, if I were to end this,
I'm sorry, but I didn't see the questions on my end, so I don't know where to click.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go out of here. The poll will stay here, but you see the 3 options that are up here, right?
Yes.
So when you click on the ones with the little shapes, you're gonna see a green dot next to the polls. And when you click on polls, it's gonna open up and you'll see the question.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be just something that you'll have to, again, share with your students about where to look for that little green dot, right? And once they get in there, then they'll be able to answer the poll. And again, you don't have to just stick to 2. What if it was, okay, we're gonna think big, and we're gonna have a cookout in like 7 months when this is all completely gone, and we're all so thankful that it's gone, and we're gonna go to Album Park, and we're gonna have a cookout. So what are the things that we want for our cookout? And we could have a list of everything, and then so we could take the top 3, right? So again, it doesn't have to just be 2 options. It could be a whole bunch of different options. And then again, I would be able to see who chose what option as a teacher, but you don't see it, which is, again, it's nice for the students. So that way they feel a little more comfortable of answering truthfully. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop this poll, but notice down here I have create a poll. So I could have many, many, many polls during our session today if I wanted to, which is, again, nice. And I'm going to get those results. Again, as the teacher, it'll just continue to add to that spreadsheet for me. So this is a really nice feature to have. I really like this a lot.
Misha, will it save the polls for you? Like, could I do polls for the week and it'll be saved?
Unfortunately not. It's only saved for this particular meet. So when this meet is over, when I close it down, that poll I'm really going to have the results of that poll, but it's not going to be here the next time that I open it. So unfortunately, no. I mean, for me, I would just make sure that I had like my little sticky notes. Okay, Monday, we're going to do this poll. And then you can start it up. As soon as you start the meet, you can start it up and it can be there. And you just don't have to run it yet. You could just have it like in your polls. And then they won't see it until you actually launch it. Okay?
You know, and what I would do is I would have a tab with a Google Doc with the poll ready. So I just copy, boom, paste, and I'm ready. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Would it be nice to use as an exit ticket?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You know, and so make it an easy question, or it could be a mini quiz. You can have 2 or 3 poll questions, and it's actually a quiz. You don't show them the results. They don't see it, but then it's a quiz that you go ahead and take a look at the report.
Yeah, because I'm going to get a report from everybody's answers anyway.
So if you have 2 or 3 questions, when you post the first question, the kids won't be able to see the second question, right?
Well, I'm going to leave this one open right now, and I'm going to start a new one because that's something I'm not sure on. I don't want to misspeak. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new poll. And this one we're going to be, which is better? And we're going to put, you can tell what I'm thinking about right now. A little hungry. Ice cream or cake. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Now, both of these polls are still going. Do you see both of them?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. So yes.
Yes.
As long as this one is still going, because I didn't end it yet. You see, I can end it by clicking the end the poll, but I'm going to leave it open because I wanted to see what would happen if I had both of them running at the same time. So I just learned something too, that yeah, we can have lots of polls going at the same time. So like Larry was saying, we could actually make this, each one of these like a quiz question that we could have a discussion about, and then everybody would put in their answers, right? And then I could go back and check those answers, and I could say, wow, you know what? Now let me go ahead and turn this one on so that way everybody will be able to see the results, because I didn't allow that. So let me go ahead. There's a little on and off switch. So I want to make sure everybody can see the results of the poll. If I turn that off, that I could really use that as a quiz question, because then you would know what anybody else answered. You would just give me your answer.
Yep.
So there's a lot of ways you could use this. Any other questions about the polls?
Very quick. I'm so sorry.
No. You go ahead and ask whatever it is.
You said that we could open a tab, Larry, and put the question.
Copy and paste the question or the poll that you're going to use.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if I, for the week, I'm having this really great moment where I've got a lot of clarity and I'm really being very creative, and I write down all these questions, right, on a Google Doc, then it's Monday and I totally forgot what my questions is. I can go to that Google Doc and I can just highlight it, copy it, and paste it right in. And then there's my question. I'm a genius now again, because I wrote it down when I was thinking about it, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
So yes. All right. So we got polls. Yes. Another question?
Yes. So you know how sometimes the students, you put something on the chat box and there's a link or something, and then for whatever reason they get kicked out and they come back in, they can't see it anymore. Is that the same with the polls?
No.
No, the polls will stay there. They will stay there. Yes. We've actually tested that out, and we know that's for a fact. The reason the chat box disappears is just because it's only available to you while you are in there. But once you step away and come back, it's like it's erased. But that does not happen with the polls. The polls will still be there.
Okay.
Same with the Q&A, which that's why I think they added it, because that way the Q&A is there. The questions and the answers are there after, in case somebody gets kicked out or whatever. Okay. So we're going to take a look at the Q&A right now, actually. So for the Q&A, we're going to turn it on. And once I turn it on, what's going to happen, you're again in those little 3 shapes, you're going to see a green dot next to Q&A, right? And you're going to see that you can ask a question. And you ask a question by clicking on the box at the bottom. It says ask a question. So you can ask any question that you want, and then the teacher will see it, which is me, or which in your case, it will be you. You'll be able to see it, and then you will be able to mark it that you've either looked at it, that you've answered it, and again, you will get all of that information when the student asks the question. Oops, like Mr. Snyder asked a question, what is your favorite food? And I could go, Larry, I can tell you right now that one of my most favorite things to eat in the world is fajitas. How I love fajitas. And then I can just click on this little check mark right here that I answered his question. Yep. Or if I have somebody that might ask a question that might be not a good question to ask, I can hide it. I can hide it by clicking on the little I. Or if it's a question that really, you know what, we can trash the question as well. And then you can also see where you have likes here. So if somebody asks a question and we can have other kids say, oh yeah, I like that question because I had that question too, they can actually go in here and click the likes. And then what I can do is I can filter oldest first, newest first, or most popular by how many likes it has. Okay. So how are you? I am doing very well, Martha. So I'm going to go ahead and click that I answered that question as well. I answered it verbally. And then that way, when I get my report, I will see that I did answer them and that people did like them. So, and that's how the questions work. And again, they will be here the entire time. And I can also filter it by unanswered questions, by the answered questions. I can even filter it by hidden questions. If we have a couple of questions, maybe are hidden. Maybe I turn this on and I ask a couple of questions and then I hide them. And then I can go in and I can filter them and then I can bring those questions up and then I can ask them to the group. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this. If I don't want you to be allowed to ask questions, I can just turn this off. But I don't know why I would want to use it and then turn it off. I think that would be a silly thing to do, but they have that option there for us if we want it. So any questions about the Q&A? And again, these will stay here the entire time.
Would you be able to see these in all of the breakout rooms?
You will not see them. This is for the main breakout room, but these same options will be available in every breakout room. So I can go into a breakout room, and we were even talking about this, like if I have a breakout room 1 and 2, and let's say that I have a Nearpod, right? And I have one Nearpod for one group of students, and I have another Nearpod. I can go in there and of course add the link inside the chat, and they can get into it. And then it's just like a regular breakout room, except it's a part of this main room. It's like a little add-on piece. But I mean, there's so many different ways that you can use those breakout rooms. But each set of Q&A is designed specifically for that breakout room. But I will get reports on all of that at the end when I close this room down. It's going to give me all of that information.
That was my question, that if you were able to see all the breakout rooms, all the questions they might pose or had.
Yes, because they will all go to the same place. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Anything else we can help you with as far as the Q&A? No, we're doing good on time.
No, we're doing good. 5:08.
Okay, all right. So we are doing good. Yeah, we still got some time here. All right. Well, what I'd like to get into just a little bit, I want to touch on a couple of settings that I'm going to really recommend that you use in your Google Meet. We have had a couple of issues where kids are popping in to meets that are not theirs, right? I don't know hopefully none of you have experienced this, but we've had some kids that have been a little rude, and because they're with a YISD account, somebody sends them a link to a Google Classroom Meet and they get in and they say something, they do something, and we want to prevent that from happening. So what I'm going to do is right down here, can you see my little blue shield that's down here, my host controls? Can you all see that?
Yeah, but just remember, you're not going to see this on this Meet because it has to be your Meet.
Yes, you're going to see this on your Meet, the one that you are the host of, okay? I have my quick access on right now. That's probably not really wise for me to have that on. What the quick access allows students to do is if they're in part of Isleta, they can just pop in. They can just get in here. Same with any teacher. They can just get in here. If I turn this off, anyone who is not invited, they have to ask to join, including people that are in YISD. So let's say that I'm using my Meet in Google Classroom. Of course, all of my students are invited to that Meet because it's in my Google Classroom. But if I turn off the quick access, somebody who's not a part of that Google Classroom is going to have to ask permission to get in. I'm going to get that little doorbell sound, and it's going to say, Misha Daniel in YISD is asking permission to join this Meet. And I'm going to say, no. That's not somebody I want in here, right? So you'll have the option to allow or deny. And that sounds like, well, that may be a little more than what I want, but this might be a really good way to keep your students safe. We've also had issues now, not at every level, and this is very rare, but I've seen it happen, where I'm going to go ahead and click out of here really quick, and I'm going to show you where it's at. Okay. So let's say that I want to invite somebody to the Meet, okay? So I click on people, and you see where it says add people. Now you have this too. You have the add people. Right? So if I click on it, it's gonna say, okay, how do I want to invite them? And I don't know if you can see this window, this pop-up window that just appeared. Hopefully you can. I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay. Now it's showing me their email addresses, but I can also click on call. And this has happened in a couple of our meets where students have actually used this call to invite students from outside of the Meet. They just type in a phone number and actually will call this person. Well, then that's a problem because that's a big distraction. So to prevent that from happening by going to the host controls and making sure that that quick access is turned off right here. And this is why you want it turned off. Only the people invited. Everyone else must ask to join. People cannot join anonymously, which is really important. So because somebody who is not using a YSD account, they can't join. And only hosts can dial out of the meeting, which means only the teacher can dial out. Not that you want to dial out, but nobody else will have that ability to add people with a call. So having that turned off is pretty powerful for you as the teacher. And I totally recommend it. And I recommend you tell all of your colleagues at your campus, hey, you should really use this option and turn off the quick access. And that's going to help keep your students a little bit safer. I know we're doing everything we can to keep our students safe, but this is just one more layer that's going to help us and help your kids, because we have had a couple of kids who have done this, and we want to prevent that from happening. Yep. Yeah, we'll catch them, but I hate to have to catch them. I like to make it so they can't do it, and then we don't have to worry about having any consequences for them.
Yep, absolutely. So, and if you have a guest, that's okay.
Yeah,
they're going to come into your class. Maybe a different teacher, maybe somebody else, an author. Well, you'll just get the doorbell, you let them in, and you're good to go, and the students are safe. So keep that in mind too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Also in the blue shield that is in your Google Meet, you've got the share their screen and the chat messages. Would you keep the admin out during walkthroughs? It's just gonna tell you that you need to admit them in. So all you have to do is click the admit button, and then they'll be able to come in, because it'll tell them on their side that they need to ask to join.
Now, if they're a teacher already in your classroom, they're going to be able to come in.
Yeah. If they've already are part of your classroom, absolutely.
And if you've already allowed them to come in, allow them to come in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that, I know it's one extra thing, and to some people that might seem like this could be an annoying thing. But just as a mom who actually had this happen to her son in a classroom, where somebody came in and then said that they were my son when they were not. I mean, yeah, I don't want that ever happening to anybody, and my son freaked out big time about it. It was awful. I mean, nothing happened. Nothing at all happened, thank goodness, but it just really scared him because he thought somebody got his identity and he was really worried about it. I go, no, don't worry about it. We're okay. But, we just got to try to keep our kids safe. So that's a way of doing it. But sometimes, if I share my screen, you all can still share your screens. And then we're all kind of competing with sharing screens, right? Well, there might be a time where you just want to have your screen is the only one that's being shared. So you can actually turn this off, turn the screen off, so only you can share for a little bit, and then turn it back on when you want to allow kids to share out and discuss what they're doing. That I've seen that happen, because sometimes we have that one or two kids that might be trying to push that envelope, and they're thinking they're being really, really funny. It's a Friday, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh. So if you turn that off, then they won't have that capability of sharing over the top of you when you're sharing something very important with them. Same with the chat messages. Sometimes that's an issue with some of our kids. They start chatting with each other and they're not paying attention. So that's a way to kind of refocus them and recollect them, is by turning that chat feature off and say, I'll turn it back on once I know that everybody is really on task, and we have our Q&A open, so you're more than welcome to ask questions there. But as far as the chat goes, we're going to turn that off for a little while until we can really handle that a little bit better. So that might be something that you might want to do as well. So again, you have those three options. You've got your quick access. You've got where you can just share the screen, or everybody can share the screen, and of course the chat messages. Okay. And I know you all know about the removing students from your class. I know you all know about that. And if you do remove a student from your class, it's going to take like a whole day for them to be able to come back in, because that's Google's way of they're saying, okay, they got kicked out by the teacher, so we're going to remove them until tomorrow. And one of the best things that you can do in your Google Classroom is reset that Meet link in the evening.
Yep.
And I know some admins are not a big fan of that, but again, that's going to keep things a little bit safer for you as well. Because if you get somebody who copies that link and gives it, you know, unless you have your quick access turned off, and then plus if somebody's having a hard time getting back in, that might be the best way, just to reset the link. So, any questions about any of that? No questions. Oh, well, I got a couple more things I want to show you because there's some really new awesome stuff that's in here now. So if I go into my settings here, 3 dots, maybe it'll take a year to start. Okay, there we go. Okay, first of all, we know about the recording, and I'm sure you've seen the change background, right? You've seen that. I know I've seen the kids that have seen it, but you can click on the change background. And what you're going to get, maybe if it comes up, it's just being really slow right now. Come on. Come on. Let's try it again. Maybe it's going to do
turn off my camera, Misha. Let's see if we could turn off our cameras and see if it'll give her more.
There we go. Okay. It's finally coming up. I think because it's like having to start another camera in here. Yep. But you have the option of, right now I don't have any background on. I'm not blurring my background. I'm not doing anything. It's just me. But I can actually blur my background. I can slightly blur it just a little bit, or I can really blur out my background. I mean, you can't really tell because I'm kind of in front of a green screen, so it's kind of hard to see. Or I can use one of the backgrounds that Google has in here. If I have a personal account, I'm going to see a little plus sign. That's supposed to be coming to us at some point. They don't have a timeline on that one. And actually, I'm really not worried about that one because we want to make sure we have the ability to turn that off for our students before it goes live. So, and that's kind of important. We don't want kids uploading pictures and that's going to be their background. We just don't want that. So, you know, they can use one of the backgrounds that's already here. That's cool. That's fine. It does take a little more of your bandwidth to run a background. You might find that your computer is running a little bit hotter when you use one of those backgrounds. But they're there for you to use. And if you don't see the blur background or change background, what might be happening if you're using a Mac is you need to go into the settings of Chrome and make sure that your acceleration is underneath the advanced all the way down to the bottom under system. And make sure the acceleration is turned on. I think I saw a question. Is there a question there? Let me check.
I don't add these backgrounds in my settings.
Yes. And that might be why. Are you on a Mac or are you on a PC?
Mac.
On a Mac. Okay. So what you're going to want to do is in your Chrome settings, and I don't know if you can see this. I don't think you're going to be able to see my little window here. But when you click on the 3 dots, you're going to go down to settings. And when you get into settings, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to where it says advanced. And then you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to where you see systems. It's so close to the very, very, very bottom. And make sure that the acceleration, like the accelerator, like it's in your car, make sure it's turned on. And once you turn it on, you probably will see that blur feature. If you don't, contact me, email me like tomorrow, and I will check your settings within Google to make sure that you have everything that you are supposed to have, because we want to make sure everybody has everything according to the licenses that we have for you. Okay.
I clicked on the settings. I get audio and video.
Okay, not the settings down here.
Oh, in Chrome.
The settings that are up in Chrome, the Chrome browser settings.
All right.
And then all the way down the bottom, go to advanced, all the way down the bottom again until you see system, and turn on that acceleration. And I bet you that's going to help you. Okay?
Right.
Other questions?
I just checked your account. You're okay. So I think it's that. Okay. So
it's probably the acceleration. That's usually one of the, we don't always think about the acceleration piece, but yeah, I think it's going to help you out.
Okay.
We're down to about 10 minutes now, so I want to leave this open for questions or comments or ideas or whatever it is that we can help you with, even if it's not really related to Meet or we've got a little bit of time here, and we appreciate you staying after hours today to be with us. It's, it tells us a lot about you as a teacher, that you're trying to better your craft, and we really appreciate it.
And Ms. Rivas, you do have all 3 licenses, so you should be okay.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Verify acceleration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have had to remove students because class is over and they're just not responding.
Yeah.
They're not exiting. So I remove them. I heard you say the 24 hours. Is it exactly 24 hours?
Oh, no. Usually it's like the next day is when it kind of kicks in, sometime during that next day. I don't know how many hours. I'm guessing as soon as like the time switches over to the next day that it kind of resets their account. But
Okay.
they just do that as a safety thing, because they figure that if a teacher has removed a student, there's a
Yes.
reason why, and they shouldn't be back in there right away, because they don't want kids just jumping right back in.
Sure. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's usually the end of the period and I have to go to my next class. So I've
Sure.
removed them so I'm not leaving them in the room. And so I've exited and removed them. I close out the session. I just want to make sure that they can still come back tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Great.
Good.
Thank you.
And by resetting that meet link, that's also going to help if you've had to remove a student, to make sure that they can come back in the next day by resetting that meet link at the end of the day. Does that make sense too? Or the end of the period or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have training on whiteboard? We have had a couple of trainings on like Whiteboard Fi and the Microsoft Whiteboard. I think we're probably going to try to do another one. I just don't know when. We've had a lot of requests for all kinds of different things, especially in this digital environment. I will tell you, if you go to whiteboard.fi, that it is a very easy whiteboard, and all of your kids get one as well. And you just send them a link. You can send it through the chat, and then they're in, and then they have a whiteboard. And there's all kinds of features. They're adding more every day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you recommend that one better than the one that's on here on the 3 dots?
Are you talking about the Jamboard? The Jamboard is great. Then let me tell you what the difference is between the Jamboard and Whiteboard FI. Jamboard is one whiteboard that everybody in here, it's like a community whiteboard. So everybody in here has access to it. So we all can write on it together. It's graffiti, right? We can all just write whatever we want on this whiteboard together. With Whiteboard FI, I get my own whiteboard as a teacher. I can push out what I have to your whiteboard as a student. You have your own whiteboard. You can share your whiteboard with me and with everybody. I have the power. I can share it out with everybody, or I can just look at it myself. But it's everybody has their own individual whiteboard. So you have to decide, what do I want to do? Do I want to do something where everybody is doing a group thing together and we all have access to the Jamboard? Or do I want to have something where I want my students to do individual work? So that's something that you kind of need to think about. But both of them are very awesome. To start a whiteboard, of course, in the Google Meet, I click on the 3 dots and I just click on whiteboard. Okay. And you'll see, hopefully you can see this little window here. It says start a new whiteboard or choose one from Drive. I'm going to go ahead and start a new one. And you're all going to get a little message in the chat right now that says that I'm sharing on a whiteboard with you. Well, you should anyway. I don't know if it's just being a little delayed this afternoon. I'm kind of wondering if they're making some, we've had trouble with Google throughout the day today. I'm wondering if they're doing oh, here we go. All right. So right now it says, do I want to share out with all these people? Do I want to give you view rights, or I want to give everybody edit rights? Okay. So everybody in here will have edit rights to this whiteboard. So I click send, and now we should get, here's my whiteboard. You can't see it because it's opening up in a new window, but if you click on that link that I just says, I shared a jam file with the meeting. If you click on that link, I just put it into the chat. It's going to take you into my whiteboard. Okay. And I'm going to just go ahead and come on. There we go. We're going to do black. And hopefully, I know you can't see it because it's in a new window. I see other people that are in here. I see Larry's in here. I see 6 people that are in here. And you see we're all in here together. I don't know what the limit is. I know the limit, like on a Google Doc, is 50, so I'm assuming it would be about the same. But what's nice about this is you will have access to this in your Google Drive when we're done. You know, I own it, but you should have access to it just to look at it. So this is what they call Jamboard that's in here. I can also use it if I use Whiteboard FI. Of course, all of you would have your own whiteboard that you're working on, and then I would be able to push things out to you. Maybe a math problem, maybe a question, maybe just a drawing, what is this type of thing, or an image, push it out to you, and then you all could write or annotate and then send it, and then I can just go in and I can see yours, and then I can share yours. You can share yours with me, and then I can push that out to everybody else. Oh, look at what Larry did. He did such an awesome job, you know, that kind of thing. So you just have to decide, do I want everybody on one with Jamboard, or do I want everybody on their own with Whiteboard FI? And there are a couple videos that we have on our site, YouTube videos about Whiteboard FI. I need to get some going on Jamboard. I don't think I've done anything on Jamboard yet. Still kind of new. Any other questions? We are just about out of time. My goodness, it went fast. All right, I just closed down the whiteboard or the Jamboards. But if you know where you can find us. We are at. We'll go ahead and put it in the chat here. This is our virtual office, and we are here 8 to 5, or somebody is in that office 8 to 5 every day. Hopefully, I can spell today. Here we go. It's a bit.ly/YSD Innovative Learning. You just type that into the address bar, and it'll take you to our meet. And a lot of times we'll ask you to share your screen if it's something, you know, I'm having trouble with this or that. Not that we have all the answers, but we try really hard to find out who has that answer for you, and so that way it makes your life a little bit easier. We know there's a lot to deal with right now, and we're trying to help you in any way that we can. And we really, again, appreciate you being here and spending time after hours to learn more about your craft and to be better teachers. And that's awesome for our students. We really appreciate you.
And Veronica Cavazos, I did check your account. You're good. So make sure you check your acceleration.
Thank you. Yes, it works. Thank you.
Larry, can I ask you a real quick question? A while back, I guess in the summer, you were presenting, and you had like a Scooby-Doo dog following you.
Now, Lorraine, I really don't recommend